Good afternoon, guys. This is Maureen, and I'm back with Words Matter. So let's share some words. Don't limit yourself. Sometimes we have a tendency to think of ourselves a certain way. Somebody might think that they're quiet, or maybe easily angry, or not smart, or you fill in the blank. How do you view yourself? We need to be careful not to identify ourselves with these kind of things, because when we take on an identity and just decide that's the way I am and that's the way I'll always be, or we just feel like that's the way that I'm wired, it really limits us. It can limit us to making changes that we need to make in our lives. You are capable of doing more than you realize. Sometimes we just need something to give us that motivation, that push to make that change that we need to make. And we can do it. I like what they talked about on Sunday at church. They talked about how God doesn't need ingredients, He just needs obedience. Basically, it's saying that God could take an old shoe and a banana and make gumbo. So surely He could take you, who is quiet, and help him to be a great speaker. Someone that's angry, and make them very peaceful. God can change people. In fact, Moses wasn't a good speaker, but guess what he got called to do? Speak. Sometimes God sees stuff in us more than we see in ourselves, right? Two examples of this would be one, Rhonda, my friend. She didn't see herself as being smart. She always did bad at school, but then she had found out about the verse in the Bible that says that if you ask God for wisdom, He'll give it to you. So she decided to put that verse to the test, and she prayed it, and she stood on it. Not only did she start doing good in school, she became a teacher. And later, she became a pastor. I think of another example when it comes to me crocheting. Believe it or not, I tried crocheting when I was younger, and I could not get past what they call a chain. A chain is basically just a bunch of loops. This is as far as I could get with crocheting. Just a bunch of loops. Once I finished the loops and you're supposed to put the stitch into the loop, I couldn't do it. Could not do it. I was very frustrated. I talked to my mom because my mom could crochet. She couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I talked to my friend Karen. She couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. And then I even talked to Karen's grandma because she was the crochet expert, and she couldn't figure it out either. So I gave up. I said, oh, well, I will never be able to crochet. That just wasn't made to crochet, apparently. I was a little disappointed, but oh well. I just moved on. Fast forward, The Hunger Games comes out, and Katniss Everdeen is wearing a sweater that I absolutely fall in love with. There's an easy crochet pattern that I find. Guess what? It's time to try crocheting again, right? But what am I doing wrong? I had to watch tons of videos before I figured it out. I was simply pulling the loops too tight. The crochet needle couldn't go through the hoops because I was pulling it too tight. So once I learned that, I was able to make the loops loose enough to be able to insert the hook and make a crochet stitch. Now I can do single crochet, double crochet, triple crochet, all kinds of crochet. Easy. Once I figured out this one little thing that was setting me back. sometimes you have a little setback. And once you get through that one setback, once you break through that one thing, things can get easier. Make sure that you're not limiting yourself. And make sure that you try to change, even if it is hard. As Americans, sometimes we just want things to be easy, but sometimes life is hard. And that's okay. If we endure and we persevere, it'll strengthen us and it'll help us to be better people. You can do it, even if it is hard. Don't limit yourself. All right, guys, I'll see you next time on Words Matter. So let's share some words.